a trigger, emotional trigger. When we get into a pain conversation, we use ones like frustrated or annoyed. Hey, it's the middle of the week, Sales Ascender. It's Wednesday. Happy Wednesday, and we're back for another high ticket tune-up. This is Sean Malone speaking here. I'm the CSO of the Sales Ascenders, and I got a doozy for you. I always say that word. I love that word. Let's jump right into it. Question came out today from Michael. Michael asks this. He says, Sean, how do I integrate pain into my sales conversation? Now, if you know anything about us or our steps or our method or anything else like that, so we have a 7-stage method. Pain is the 3rd stage in our selling ascension method. And so it's one of, if not the most important part of our conversation. And so today, what I'm going to do is I'm going to dive deep into sharing how to actually put pain into your sales convo. So let's dive into it. The first thing is we need to understand a couple of terms. The first term I'm going to share with you is something called a trigger, emotional trigger. What is an emotional trigger? Specifically, an emotional trigger word. So an emotional trigger word would be a word that elicits some sort of an emotion. And typically when we get into a pain conversation, we use ones like frustrated or annoyed or ticked off or something like that. So here's how you would put the pain into a sales conversation. I'm just going to share my screen right here. You can see. So step 1 is literally to get your prospect to share her negative emotion about what's going on in her world. So this means you're already at a conversation and you're at this place where she says, hey, what do you do? And so then you would say something very similar to this. In fact, I'm just going to hide the question for a second because there's a couple of things here. This is really important for you. So this could be a script that you could use right now today. And literally it sounds just like this. It would say, okay, Michael, as you know, we're the industry leaders in sales. That's your industry. That's the way I would say it. And so typically clients come to us when they're frustrated with not being able to consistently find the right client to put on their calendar. Or sometimes they're concerned that the system that they're currently using is going to let them down. Maybe they're working with a referral system or something that they just don't know is dependable or predictable. Or maybe right now they're actually, a lot of people come to me that are pissed off that they're just not growing the business as fast as they want to do that. So let me ask, are any of these things happening to you, and which one is it? And just doing this, and if you can see here, there's some capitalized words, the frustrated, the concerned, the pissed off. These are the emotional trigger words. These are the things that you need to put in your conversation. And the reason for this literally is to start to draw out the pain or the problem that your prospect may be having. And when you do that, and when you get them to say, yes, that one is me, the next move is just to simply say, tell me more. And then you dive into what their pain is, and you learn a lot about it, ask a ton of questions around. In fact, we have a magic 8 questions. If you've just gotten into our Facebook group, our exclusive Facebook group, you entered your email, that would have already been emailed to you right away. So again, link below to jump into our group if you're not there yet. Go do that. Literally, the 8 questions would be something that you would use right after this script. Now, what I'm going to do really quick here is I'm actually going to stop sharing that. I'm going to share a different screen. Give me just 1 second here. So here's step 2. I want to share this with you as well. Step 2 is this. So once you've collected all of this pain and you now have everything that you need to have, just the very simple move is to take each pain and uncover through the pain funnel that I shared with you. You can get that by joining our group. And then you say, okay, after this conversation's gone down, you say, so it sounds like you're struggling with, you don't have the system, you're struggling with not having a system that consistently finds the right opportunity to put on your calendar. And you could say, could you tell me more about that? And you could continue taking them through the 7 questions. You can do this with each pain, and then even at the end, the next move is to repeat everything. So when you get to the very end of the conversation, the move is, okay, Michael, so thank you for sharing this with me. I just want to make sure I got everything right before we move on. You mentioned that you were struggling with having a system that gets you new clients predictably and dependably. You've tried all these other things and you've been just banging your head against the wall and you haven't gotten there. It's cost you a whole bunch of time and money and effort trying different programs, this, that, and the next thing. Makes you feel like garbage, but you haven't given up trying to solve it yet. Did I get it right? And that's the full recap after we get through all of the pain, because when you do that, then they say yes. Typically, the prospect's going to say, yeah, I want to solve this. What's the next step? And then that will say, great, well, here, and then I would go for something called the Emo Close in the conversation, at which stage I would say, look, I would really love to work with you because I know I can smash that problem and I like you as a person, only if it's a fit. But I got to ask you a question. Am I somebody that you would like to work with? And when they say yes, you've just gotten yourself an emotional close. That's the first close in the sales call. So great job. You did it, right? And then the next move is to say something like, great, let's just figure out what all the details look like to work together, and we'll jump through any hoops that we got to get there so we can move forward. Does that sound okay? And when they say yes again, you've practically closed the deal. All you do have to do now is to understand their budget and how they're going to afford your services or product, as well as you need to understand their buying process of how they actually go through and make a decision that they can actually work with you. And when you have this done, guess what happens? You just closed the deal and it didn't feel salesy or anything. All you were doing was asking them a bunch of questions about where they were struggling. And the other thing that a lot of people notice when they talk to me about this, they say, Sean, holy cow, like I didn't even say anything about my company. You're right. I didn't say anything about our company. I was able to share that I was an expert through the questioning strategies that I used. Instead of, hey, I'm going to bang my chest about how good my company is. No. You don't have to do that, right? So here's an easy way to remember this. So just give me 2 seconds. I'm actually going to share just something for you real quick here. So the question is, again, Michael asked this question. He said, Sean, how do I integrate pain into my sales conversation? And the answer is find yourself an analogy. So this is one that we use all the time. A lot of our prospects, a lot of our clients like to use this one. Take it if you think it's a good one for you. So the answer is when somebody says, how do I integrate pain in my sales conversation? You're having a sales conversation. Use this analogy. WASP. Just remember that word WASP, because then you can remember what does WASP stand for? Well, each word is emotional trigger word, like I shared at the beginning of the video. So literally you can say, hey, clients come to me when they're worried about blank, or they're annoyed, that's the A in WASP, because blank, or sometimes they're struggling with blank. In fact, recently I had a client come to me that was completely pissed off by blank. Do any of these happen in your world? And literally when you ask these questions in that kind of an order, now typically I like to ask 1 or maybe 2, max 3 at a time. So I don't go all the way through all WASP when I'm starting to get into pain with my clients, but or my prospects. But I just wanted to share, this is a very easy analogy that you can take today, put into the next sales conversation so you can grow your business, because that's what it's all about, right? And I can tell you this, the more pain you can find with your prospect, the more dollars it can bring. So the more problems that you can find that they're struggling with, and you do it in a very nonchalant but an expert way, the faster you will fill up your bank account, the bigger impact you will be able to make with your prospects and your clients. And with that said, guys, today was more of a teaching session than a story session with Sean, but I feel like this is a really good one. And when you take this analogy and you put it into your world, guess what's going to happen? Your sales are going to go up, and the conversation is going to be easier, and it's not going to feel salesy anymore. So I hope this helped you today. I love this topic. I could geek out on it all day, all week, all year, because I just do, and that's what I do anyway. So I'm glad that you're here with me. Again, if this was valuable to you, please smash that like button or that love button. Make sure to subscribe to the channel, and I love you, and I'll see you tomorrow.